once more to the our Wednesday morning lecture with eBiz Marketing Academy. Today we are going to discuss on-page SEO and a little bit of implementation on your on-page SEO. As we mentioned on previous two webinars, we started a series on SEO, so this is our third part. If you missed any of them, please go back to our YouTube channel and you can view the previous lectures. So let's start. On-page SEO. Anybody that's not familiar with on-page SEO, that's the practice of optimizing web pages for specific keywords in order to improve your search visibility and traffic. So with that, it involves a few specific elements on your page, your web page, aligning some elements, including your keywords, your title tags, your content, and your internal links with the keyword. So in this lecture, I plan to go over a few of these. So the first thing we need to do with SEO is create your primary keywords. Or as previous webinars we mentioned, you want to create a list of your keywords that you want. So every page, but after you have that list, every page should have their own primary keyword. So there's no secret to ranking your search results. Google ranks pages highly because it has determined they are the best answers for the searcher's questions. In today's search engine, it's not enough that your page isn't a duplicate or spamming or broken. Your page has to provide value to searches and be better than any other page. Google is currently serving as the answer to a particular query. So here's a simple formula on doing your keyword. So first, you can't optimize a web page before you assign the target keyword. So the process of a keyword optimization actually starts with keyword research. You must first create a list of your keywords you would like to rank for each page on your website. So I would recommend all of you you might want to make a list of a spreadsheet and keep at least a list of around like 20 top keywords per page on your website. Now, after you identify those keywords, the next step you'll be to put those keywords on certain tools that we have, so you can see. You want to see what you want to actually get out of it is see if there's enough volume, and you also want to see if there's enough, how difficult is your keyword or how competitive it is that you can rank. So you want to try to strike a balance that you can rank high, not much competition, but also have enough volume. So we have a few, I'm going to post on the notes or on the description on the YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, look at the description where you can see some of these tools. Some of the tools includes the Google keyword tool. Alexa is also to Alexa keyword difficulty tool, Spyful keyword tool, Uber suggests. Those are just a few of the tools, but there's many others, and I'll try to list a few of them so you guys can go through them. Now, on whatever tool you decide to use, you put the list of your keywords that you have, and there you're gonna either show you how the difficulties to search and the search volume. So please do that on your spreadsheet. On one column, you want to put the volume, the monthly volume, and in another column, you put how difficult it is to rank. And also, another good thing about using these tools is sometimes you're going to get other search terms that you probably didn't even think about, and it'll be kind of interesting. So you want to put that on your list as well. So Uh, you want to make sure your the keyword is popular with users. That means you have enough search volume. And you want to put the volume on a column as well. So the difficulty in the column, remember the two. Now that you have this process, now that you have both, you can see how competitive it is, how much volume is. Start narrowing it down to which one is going to be your primary keyword based on the data you got. After you got your primary keyword, the next step is to find 4 to 5 relevant keywords, secondary keywords for your page. So you want to look for terms that you can use as secondary SEO keywords. Secondary keywords are terms that are closely related to your primary keywords. So related terms are helpful for keyword optimization because they add context to a page and send extra signals to search engines to help them understand and rank the page. So for each page on your site, find related keywords and choose, like I mentioned, 4 to 5 terms that support the primary keyword. And an easy way to do it is you can find related search terms on your Google search. So you go to Google and you put your primary keyword there, and then you scroll all the way down, and you're gonna see related searches, and you might want to choose some of those as your secondary keywords. Okay, so now everybody should have a list. So you guys will have a list of your keywords, your primary keyword for each page of your website, and 4 to 5 secondary keywords for each page on your site that you want to optimize, of course, do the on-page SEO. So once you have that, both of those things, there's a checklist that I'd like you to go through, and also that will also be on the description. So please look at that as we'll have it there, the checklist. But the checklist is what you're gonna do with those keywords. The keywords, you wanna include it. I'll go to a few of them, but you wanna include it on the page title. You wanna include your keyword near the beginning of the page title. The primary keyword should be at least in one of your subheadings. Your primary keyword should be the first, it should be in your first paragraph of the body copy. And you want to have a content that's anywhere from 300 to 10,000 words. So those are some of the things that you want to have on your content on each of your pages. But now a word of caution also is beware of keyword stuffing. You don't want to, keyword stuffing is the practice of loading a web page with keywords or numbers in an attempt to manipulate the site rankings. It was a practice that was done like a few years ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago, where people would put that same keyword a bunch of times, but it wasn't really natural way of that someone will read, and that can get a negative impact also on Google. So an example of a keyword stuffing includes like list of phone numbers. It does substantial added volume. Blocks of tests that list cities and states that a web page is trying to rank for. Repeating the same word or phrases often that sounds unnatural. So some example of listing a bunch of cities. Let's say you are a plumber and you have services in Los Angeles, Inglewood, Culver City, Torrance, the Long Beach area. And then you add the same content in one page, and you put, but the city, you put in one part, you put Los Angeles, plumber, and then another page you put Long Beach, plumber, but then after that is like the same information. Those things also would get a negative, you get penalized with Google, actually, what will happen. And a sound of unnatural example, it will be something like this. for a cigar humidors. We sell custom cigar humidors, or custom cigar humidors are handmade. If you're thinking of buying a custom cigar humidor, please contact our customer cigar humidor specialist at custom humidor at example.com. So you see how the custom cigar humidor is repeated over and over and over, which is kind of unnatural way that we'll talk. And the Google bots and even other smaller search engine bots are getting smarter and smarter, so they know that's not the way we naturally talk, and we're just doing that to try and gain the system and rank higher. So you will get penalized for that. So just be aware of that, but just make sure your primary keyword, and that's why you have secondary keywords to support your primary keyword on your content. But just keep it as natural as possible. It's all about trying to get your user experience to be a great user experience. And with that, they should, your rank will start going up when you have good user experience, because he's going to get shared, it's going to get posted on social media. You're going to get, people are going to refer you to their friends, family. So it's just a good practice all around. So with the content writing, as I mentioned, so, you want to be natural with content. Another part is you want to write for future, should be feature snippets. So one way to guarantee your content will be at the top of the search results. It should become the feature snippet of a query. The feature snippet, also called position 0, in the contact box that appears, is a contact box that appears at the top of a search engine result page and provides immediate information about a search term. So to optimize for a feature snippet, all you have to do is take a keyword and think about the answer to that keyword. Concisely answer a question behind the search intent as early as a post as possible, making sure to use the keyword. So an example would be if you're going after a definition query, like what is keyword? You want to include a sentence like keyword is, and then the definition. On the other hand, if you're trying to appear for a list of feature snippets, you should use the keyword in that title or introduction sentence right before the bulleted or numbered list. Another addition helping you search ranking writing for feature snippets, help you weave your keywords into the beginning of your post and provide immediate value for the readers. So always think about, remember that Google is to answer the search query from users. So always think about that page, each of your individual pages, what is answering and how is it helping someone on Google. And that way you can kind of cater your content for that. You want to break up content and also optimize headers and images. As going back to your visitor experience, the website visitors don't want to read a wall full of text, and I'm sure you don't want to have such content feel so heavy. So you can break this up with images and headers to improve your experience. And also it has technical benefits to this. Not only does using headings make your content easy to read and digest, you can also add your keyword in the H2 and H3 tags, which make it gives a bigger weight for Google than normal body copy in terms of the keyword value. If anybody's not familiar with H2 and H3 tags, these are the, it's a term in HTML code. So you'll see it's a heading tag, that's what's called H2, H is for heading. So H2 is a secondary heading, is like a subheading, and H3 will be another, a lower than subheading. And then you can go H4, H5, and it keeps going down. But those are headings, and when a Google bot reads your code, they know that this is a heading and is an important keyword. So if you're including, and then if you're including visual examples of the keyword topic, you could write an alt text like image content description, an example for a keyword. If you're writing a pros and cons post, you can also use pros of keyword as your section header instead of just pros. So that's the every image we have like has like a alt. If anybody's not familiar with what an alt tag is a tag for an image. So think about accessibility. Someone is visually impaired, or your Google bot, they need to know what the image is. So you need to put an alt tag on the image. That way you can easily read it. A Google bot, or if someone is visually impaired with a screen reader, can read what the image is about. So whenever you put an image, think about what the image is going to put. And also do not forget your primary keyword for that page and your secondary keyword and how you can implement on that alt tag. Now, you also need to consider the type of content you're creating. So the best practice for optimizing your blog post are exactly the same as the steps you want to take on optimizing a web page. You need to account for differing the intentions of visitors. So arriving on those different types of pages and how you expect them to get there. The difference between a blog page or a product page is that there's less content to work on the web page, but you still want to use the alt tags on your images, have the keywords and the metadata that you want to be natural. However, on a product page, you should include as many internal links as you want in a blog, because you're not trying to create a web of content in the same way that you want visitors to stay focused on your product, on making that purchase decision. So while the main goal of a blog post is to attract traffic and to get visitors to initially convert and go internal pages inside your website, a product page is more catered for them to finalize the purchasing decision. If this product is good enough, he has enough information about the product, how it's listed, and so it's a different focus. So, like a product page, you might only have 5 sections, and there and 3 of the 5 can be focused on specific features, making it hard for you to work in the keyword naturally more than twice on a page. But you can also optimize the technical aspects of the page while creating the best user experience as possible, that's the primary goal of any of your SEO attempts should be the user experience. Always keep your user first. Now, the next thing on-page SEO is structuring your URL. And for that, I would like to actually share something here. Let's see if I can share this with you guys. Okay. So this is what that URL looks like, and I broke it down so all of our viewers can know what each part of a URL we're talking about. So the first part is your protocol. Protocol is usually the HTTP or the HTTPS. The S stands for secure. And nowadays with Google and other search engines, they are penalizing you if your website is not secure. So make sure if you don't have an SSL certificate, put an SSL certificate so you can get that S at the end of your protocol. So HTTPS. The next part is your subdomain. So you see www as a subdomain, and that's pretty much the default. It stands for World Wide Web, and that's when the early stages of websites were always had the www in front. Nowadays, you don't really need to have that. By default, if you type it in, you will get your website, but you can also add other subdomains like blog.designpowers.com or products.designpowers.com. So that is your subdomains. You can create multiple subdomains, and they're essentially different websites. So you don't want to have lots of subdomains unless you really need them. Subdomains are created to organize content on your website. You can use any strings of characters for subdomains, not just the www. The domain name is the unique address where a website is located. So that is, your root domain, and that's pretty much the main. When you say, what is your domain name, you usually referring to your root domain name. The next part is your top level domain, or it stands for TLD, is top level domain. And it's not always .com. It can be a .org, .net, .edu. They also have .la. They have a bunch of other ones that you can use as well. And then the slug is usually your like a category for your web page, and then the article or your permalink. So what are the best practices to structuring your URL? First of all, not all websites use the same URL structure, and that's okay. So nothing should be concerned. There's many ways to skin the cat, and there's many ways that we can do SEO for your website. So the URL structure of a website depends on the unique needs for your website. For example, if you have an international sites, URLs will likely be structured for multiple language or locations. So an example would be the TLD. Will probably have like, if it's Mexico, you has .com, .mx, or whatever country that is, Japan, .jp, and so on. URL structures for a blog might also be different from an e-commerce or a membership site. And a government website URL structure will likely differ from social network. So depending on the purpose of the website, the URL structure will vary, but no matter what structure it is chosen, there's best practices to apply and maintain proper URL structure. So why does it even matter? This matters for SEO. URLs are the organization of your website content. They are the link between your content and the user. URL structures matters in two main reasons. So number one is the user experience. Great user experience is the most important factor when it comes to SEO. You improve your user experience by using logical URL structure with pages, hierarchies, intuitive, organized content makes your website easier to navigate for humans. You want to make your websites easy to browse as possible so people can get around the site with confidence and not confusion. In addition to structuring URL with logical organizations, use SEO-friendly URLs. URLs that are simple, easy to read, and include keywords that describe the content on a web page are the most SEO-friendly. So an example would be if you're searching for information about, let's say, pancakes, a URL like https semicolon en.wikipedia.org/wiki/pancake will help you decide to click on that link, versus a URL like https semicolon / and then www.example.com/index.php question mark ID underscore WCA 45678 SAP, and does not really clearly explain what the destination page is about and is not friendly. So simple URL provides the best user experience. Optimize your URLs with descriptive keywords that provide a clear understanding of what the page content is about. You want to optimize your URL because it helps search engines deliver relevant results to searches. And so searchers know exactly what they will see when they click on the link. Now, the other reason is your page rank. URL structure tells Google what different pages of the website are about and how they relate to each other. So internal linking, links to pages within your site helps with this too. So when you optimize your URL for people, you also make it easier for search engines to search engine bots to crawl your index, your website, to provide relevant content to searches. URLs are a ranking factor in Google. This means an optimized URL structure promotes a better Google page rank. Excuse me. So page rank is a way that Google measures the value of a web page and its relevance to a search query. Root domains are usually the most important part of your page rank. So if you have your keyword in your root domain, more likely you're gonna get first position, or at least be on the first page. But you don't want to just rely on the URL keywords alone to rank your keywords. So you must also make sure you have your keywords on your meta content as you want to put on, as I previously discussed, on putting your content together, on your page titles and your body of your content. Now, also, you want to avoid stuffing URLs with every keyword and only include what's useful on your keywords. So 1 to 2 keywords at the most is sufficient. More than that can come across as spam. You want to also use hyphens to separate keywords. So as you see here on the active permalink is post hyphen name. And that is the SEO best practice uses hyphen between words because it tells Google and users where the breaks between the words are, and also is a lot easier to read than if everything is smashed together. And you also want to eliminate, whenever you put your articles or a blog, eliminate any stop words. Stop words, I'm referring to words such as the, and, or, of, a, and, to, for, etc. Just make it shorter and readable with the actual keywords you want to use. Another thing you want to be aware of is you want to use lowercase letters. URLs are case sensitive for everything after your domain name. So after your root domain name, let's say you create a page and you name it contact with an uppercase C. It will take you to a 404 page instead of your source contact page if you type just your domain name / contact lowercase. So be aware of that. I think some platforms such as Squarespace, I believe if you even put uppercase, you automatically put it to lowercase, so you don't really have to worry about that. But always check and double check and make sure it's lowercase. Another thing you want to do is spell out numbers. So in many cases, you might have a number for a reason, some reason or another, that you need to put on your URL. So the thing is that numbers can cause confusion. So if your business name has a number in it and in the root domain, take precautions and also purchase the spelled out version of the domain name. Then you can redirect it to the primary domain. That way, if someone is confused or just doesn't know the spelling, you guarantee end up in your site. A good example of this is 7-Eleven. So we're all familiar with 7-Eleven. So 7-Eleven, their primary domain name is the number 7 hyphen and then spelled out 11 ELEVEN.com. But they also have the domain name 711.com spelled out SEVEN, 7 and then 11, and that redirects them to the primary domain 7-Eleven. So for all numbers after root domain, also try avoiding using them all together. So if your name is not your business name, you're writing a post, try not to use numbers if possible. think about people, right? When they're searching for something online. So like the number 4 can easily get mixed up in places of for. So, for you, for that person, or the number 2 instead of to, the to. So it's best to just avoid the confusion, and either you spell them out or don't put a number on the URL structure. So a few, to wrap up the structure URL, a few cautions, important things to remember is, after your site goes live, anytime you do any page or URL edits, always resubmit your sitemap in your Google Search Console. You want to submit your sitemap to search engines immediately, so they can immediately crawl your index, your pages, to keep your SERPs up to date with your site. And also, very important, if you change the URL structure, make sure you create a 301 redirect. So if you have a previously indexed page, and you change the URL name, that way a 301 redirect, search engines will know that that page no longer exists, is being redirected to this new name. It's very important to have that. Otherwise, you're going to get a 404 error, and you look bad as far as Google will actually penalize you for this. So anytime you make a change, put the 301 redirect. And so that is pretty much the on-page SEO. Keep in mind always the user in mind, the user experience, and also understand that Google and other search engines are making their bots more intelligent every day. So if you're just trying to game the system or doing a quick fix, it might work temporarily, but in the long run, you're gonna get penalized. But if you're thinking about your customer number 1, you're gonna be in a good place. No matter how smart the Google bots gets, they actually will rank even higher if they know that you have good content, good quality content. So I want to go over, lastly, I know we're running short on time, but lastly, I want to go over on-page SEO mistakes to avoid. So some of the mistakes that you want to avoid, number 1 is duplicate content. So if you have duplicate content that is exactly the same as content on another site, expect to lower your rankings. Google's crawlers don't know the original from the duplicate. It is estimated that about 50% of websites have duplicate content issues. So if your site's one of them, fix that duplication as soon as possible and replace your completely original quality content. If you have number 2, if you have broken images and missing alt tags, search engines can't see your images, so they depend on the alt tags to let them know what the images are depicting. And research shows that about 45% of websites have missing alt tags, and another 10% have broken images. So very important, make sure you have the alt tags. Crawlers will rank your site lower if they discover either of these issues. On top of hurting your on-page SEO, it also tanks your user experience, and also users who come across a website with broken images are more likely to bounce quickly. You don't want a high bounce rate because Google will also see that indicator as poor quality website. The next thing to avoid is using no-follow tags to hide pages. So most web page owners hide some content from search engines, either to prevent duplicate content issues or to hide a customer-only page. A common mistake here is using the not so effective no-follow tag. It's okay to hide pages, but if you don't want to do if you don't want to do so successful, it can become a problem for your SEO. So to effectively hide a page from search engines, add the following tag to the HTML head of the page. You put the meta name, and then you put in bracket, in parentheses, robots, and then content, and no index, comma, no follow. I'll put this also on the comments because I know it's kind of hard to follow just by saying it. And now the next thing is also your poor quality external links. So Google now more than ever is looking for your rank authoritative quality websites. This means that the content on your site matters, and does the content your link from your site. So your anchor text, the words you use to link other sources, should be relevant to the content you're linking to. Unnatural language looks spammy to search engines and can decrease your rankings. So there's several tools you can use also here, and I'll put it on the link and just see that you can scan it and see if you're having all natural links or if you're having poor quality external links. But make sure you always, if you're linking to external links, make sure that these are quality websites and websites that have some kind of authority on what you're talking about. The next thing is your poor structure internal links. So we mentioned external, also your internal links that point to a web page so others on your website. It is, and it should be relevant that your link is going to a page that is logical and it makes sense. Don't want to link them to a broken page or a page that doesn't exist anymore. So make sure you're aware of that. The next thing is slow page or loading speed. So if your page takes too long to load, users will leave. When they do, it also increases your bounce rate. And as I mentioned, Google does not like high bounce rates. You're gonna get poor quality rating from Google. According to research on Google, 46% of people say waiting for a web page to load completely is what they dislike the most when browsing on their phones. The next thing is a poorly optimized title tags and meta tags. Users see title tags and meta tags descriptions in Google search results. So if the content is doing its job, users should click on your link after reading the descriptions. And Google also uses them to categorize their sites. So make sure your title tag and your meta descriptions contains your target keywords and that each title has the unique for every page. Okay, so that's why it's important to have a primary keyword, unique primary keyword on each one of your pages. And your description should also be different. Don't want to keep it the same every page. So the next thing is also neglecting your LSI keywords. Today, SEO isn't only about the main keywords you are targeting. You also have to consider your search intent, all the other kind of words searches uses to find you. Latin semantic indexing, which is the LSI or LSI, describes the keywords and their variations. So investing in your LSI helps search engines better understand your content and the intent audience. Remember, Google's job is to solve the searcher's needs first. So if you're solving their needs on what they're searching, they'll always rank you higher. The next thing to be aware of is thin content pages. Short content pages that has fewer than 1,000 words gets extra scrutiny from Google. This thin content pages indicate a lack of depth on Google's crawlers. So longer content would keep visitors on the page longer also. Long form posts tend to generate more leads than infographics or slide shares or short form posted combined. So to make your life simple, write longer articles and web pages that will rank better to grow your business. So let's say you have a bunch of pages by real short content. If you can't make that content any longer, put everything in one page and we'll actually improve it. And you can break it up with the H2 headings. So Google will know those are important subheadings instead of being an additional page with such low content. And the last thing is concentrating on only page SEO. So I know this lecture was about on-page SEO. So on-page SEO is a great strategy to get started, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. When you utilize both on-page and off-page optimizations, you have more of a robust approach. Off-page SEO also includes, strategies you use outside your website, such as, link building, guest blogging, and social media campaign. When you're done well, you will work hard for your on-page SEO as well. So these will be stuff that we're going to discuss. Next week's lecture is going to be about off-page SEO. So that's just a little insight on next week. And you want to use all these parts as a part of a puzzle. So everything should go together. And lastly, you want to keep your website alive and improve on-page SEO. The biggest mistake people make is ignoring their SEO or think it's a one and done effort. So SEO, like most things in life, should be nurtured and you will see a positive outcome. Remember, things are going to change, your content is going to change, you might get a new statement, mission statement, you might have new partners, new products, new whatever. Always keep nurturing your pages. Don't let your pages be dead or be, years without any updates. Otherwise, no fresh content, you're also going to get, your ranking is going to start dropping every time. So that is my lecture for today. Hopefully you guys can come next week. It will also be exciting. And you continue building on that puzzle that is SEO. So my name is Ernesto Comodo. I'm with eBiz Marketing Academy. For those not familiar with eBiz Marketing Academy, please visit us at members.ebizmarketingacademy or follow us on Facebook. And we have a great Facebook group where you can also find a lot of information. We try to help the small business owners, the small entrepreneurs, the startups that don't have a marketing team on their end, and they want to learn some of the basics in marketing so they understand, so they can do a lot of these things on their own, or they have enough understanding that they can hire an agency like us or like me individually or my partner, and they will kind of know what they want already. Okay, so hope everybody has a great rest of their day, rest of their week, and we'll see you again next week on Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you.